Hello, I'm Scott Stevens, Goldsboro City Manager, here for our January update. I hope everybody made it through the holidays well and enjoyed the time with family and friends. January gets us back to work, and Happy New Year to all of you. I'm a little late sharing that and saying that, but it is a time for us to sort of reassess where we are and move forward in life. And for those that like the cold, well, this week is definitely cold, so I hope you're enjoying it, and I guess we'll have several more weeks or months of that, and then we'll move into a little warmer season for our community. Several things I'd like to share. We have moved the city to the state health plan, so all of our employees do pay a portion. They pay $50 a month towards their health insurance with the city. The city is now insured using the state health plan. It's a better benefit for our employees, so overall I think that has been seen as a good switch, although anytime you make a change it comes with some uncertainty of how will it work and will it be as good. But I think overall the employee group is pleased with the change. Importantly, for lower cost to employees who are paying for dependent care, or at least similar or lower, for the city as a whole it saves about $1 million a year. So for the city financially it was a very good move, and again we thank our state legislators for allowing cities, or at least a few cities, to join the state health plan in their last session. So we're still working through some details with that, but overall the news to our employees is I hope they find the benefit as good as we expect it to be and as they expect. And then to the community, we have reduced our benefits cost by $1 million in doing that this year. A couple things I'd like to mention. Been asked several times about the police chief and my selection process. Our interim chief is Mike West. He's done an excellent job as an interim chief. I've encouraged him to, he's make changes in the department as needed. He has done some of that. He has taught with the officers. I've gotten a lot of good feedback from the department on our interim chief. But my responsibility is still to hire the best chief for Goldsboro. And so we have advertised the position. It is just closed in mid-January. We'll begin looking at applications and begin going through a process where hopefully in the February timeframe we can make an announcement of our permanent chief. So more to come on that. I do think Mike West would make an excellent applicant, so I'd encourage him to apply. But again, in the end of the process, I'd like to have the best person to be chief for Goldsboro. So we'll have more to come on that in the coming months. We also had some data that came out that talked about traffic stop data that was reported. The News Argus had also reported this, that if you were stopped for an equipment violation in Goldsboro, and you were black, you were 1,700% more likely to have your vehicle searched. And as we looked at that data, I just didn't believe the data to be accurate when the initial reports came out. I had looked at traffic stop data for 2014. It was very equally balanced, or matched our community representative very well, in that in our overall traffic stops, with over 5,000 vehicle stops, 55% were black, 44% were white, and 1% was other, but that matches our demographics very, very closely. So I was very pleased with that data. When I heard of this 1,700% number, I just couldn't figure out how that would be correct. As we dug into the data, it turns out for that one particular component, meaning if we stop somebody for an equipment violation, and that could be a headlight that's out or a brake light not working, of the stops we made 120 that were contained white occupants, and we searched one of those. We stopped 160 with black occupants. We searched 23 of those. So we searched less than 1% of the white occupants, 14% of the black occupants, and when you do the math on that, it does say you would be 1,769% more likely to be searched if you were stopped for that type of violation and you were black in Goldsboro. What it didn't go on to report is the year prior to that, it was 48% more. So a drastic reduction from 2014, or a drastic increase to 2015. And as you look back at the statistics for the last 10 years, they are up and down and up and down and up and down. And the real explanation for me is not that our department is profiling or unfairly stopping or searching vehicles based on color. What it shows is the number, that 1 out of 120 were searched, or 23 out of 130 were searched, are relatively small numbers. And that one, if it were a 3 or 4 or 5, greatly reduces that 1,700 percentage down to something in the 200 to 300% range. So I don't want to say that we're not concerned with that or we're not paying attention to that, but I truly don't think our officers are mistreating our community or our citizens, and I just wanted to share that with you. If you have questions or would like to talk about that in more detail, please don't hesitate to contact me. I'd be happy to sit down with you and help you understand where the numbers came, the chief and I, and sort of what our officers are doing in terms of that. One other thing I'd like to address that was recently reported is that a conversation that the City Council held an illegal meeting related to shots fired around one of our council members' home. It occurred several weeks ago. The News Argus reported that their press attorney said that we had illegal meetings, not because I had a majority of my board at one time, but because we held 2 separate meetings to avoid having a majority and thereby created subcommittee meetings. While the story was fairly accurate in terms of that, they had a press attorney opinion. Where they failed to get is that our city attorney did not believe it was an illegal meeting, and furthermore, the School of Government, who does municipal issues statewide and are a handful of attorneys very versed in municipal issues, felt that the subcommittee argument was invalid and therefore didn't agree with that either. And so, unfortunately, the story was not a balanced story. It was very much one-sided, to the Press Association saying that the city held an illegal meeting. And again, the meetings and what occurred was fairly accurate. The fact that they accused us of it being an illegal meeting versus our city attorney and the School of Government attorney saying it was not, that's the balancing of the story. And I wish they had done a better job reporting that, because we always work to comply with our state laws and make sure that we're doing things in the best interest in the right way for Goldsboro. So if you have questions on that, please don't hesitate to contact me and we discuss that further. But I am disappointed that we would not have a balanced reporting of stories or events that occur in our community. We held a downtown merchants meeting some time ago, late in August. I had probably 20 or so downtown merchants come, and a number of them concerned with the Center Street streetscape project and its impact on their business. All of them said they had some downturn in business due to just the construction activity. Some of the about half of the group that was there in August really felt like the city should help some financially. The other half of the room really felt like the city had done all we could do or should do in terms of making the public infrastructure more inviting. All of them agreed that it was a good project and they were excited that the project was coming to a close there at the end of August. We held some of those members came back to a city council meeting in late December and said we had not followed up with the group. And while we had followed up with some individual members, they were correct. We had not followed up with the group. So we did hold a meeting on January 19th invited all of downtown merchants, but with a handful that came, and basically followed up on the discussion. And other than the summary of the meeting of concerns with loss of sales and could the city loan money based on loss of sales, helping with utility payments, and the idea of filing a claim against the city for loss of sales. And so I addressed those 3 areas. The loan issue, we cannot make loans as a city just to make loans. Again, we're not a public bank, we use public money. We can do loans for economic development incentives, and that is some of the conversation I had with our previous council in October timeframe, last October. We have a new council as of December, and so at some point I'll ask this new council, would they like us to proceed with the idea of making loans based on economic development criteria, not loss of sales criteria. And so again, we can't really help those that have been in business for sure more than 5 years, which may have suffered loss of sales during the Center Street project as well. So we can't really develop a loan program that, in my opinion, would be fair to all. And my recommendation to the council will be that we not do that. But if the council wants to move forward with a loan program, we would certainly follow the council's direction under the law. We could do something related to economic development. The second item related to utility bills, and I certainly can't defer, or I can't help with electric bills, I can't defer water or sewer bills, we have to, or waive them. We've got to collect those bills when they're due, but we can work with them to defer payments. So we do that with any of our customers. I would say that to all of the community. If you're having trouble making ends meet and your water bill is a problem for you, please contact our finance department and we will work with you case by case to extend payments for a limited period of time. Again, we can't write off the bill, we can't let you not pay, but we can certainly extend it a month or 2 or 3 where needed. And then the final thing, for those in the merchants that felt they had a claim against the city due to the construction project, we have encouraged them to file claims. But typically, at least in all the situations I've been involved with in my career within the state of North Carolina, the state nor the local government is responsible for loss of sales due to public infrastructure work being performed. That would be true of our Department of Transportation, where they did work along Wayne Memorial that impacted the businesses there. That would be true in the Berkeley Boulevard widening project, where certainly you're impacting sales along there as you make it harder for people to get in and out of. And certainly I think that would be true on Center Street, where people had a harder time getting out and therefore had a loss of sales. But we encourage anybody who feels they have a claim against the city to file it. We'll let our insurance company take a look and make a recommendation. And we have paid in the past where we were wrong, but we haven't paid for loss of sales due to construction or utility related work, at least up to this point. And I don't think in North Carolina that cities or the state would be required to do that. We have new council members, as many of you know. They were sworn in the first meeting in December. They're still working to take in the information, but they have been an active board and are working, I think, very well together. So we spent a lot of time helping them individually and as a group figure out how the city operates and why we do certain things, and that, yes, there are some controls in place, or yes, these could be better. And so we've had a lot of good ongoing conversations and questions from our new council members. We have set up facility tours for them. We'll be advertising those in the near future, but the February 8th and 9th timeframe are our tentative meetings or tentative dates that we've set aside to carry them out and show them all of our facilities in public works, parks and recreation, police, fire, and public utilities. And so that'll take 2 good full half days to move them around and show them those facilities and talk a little bit about each one. So more coming on that. And then we do have a council retreat that is tentatively scheduled for February 24th and 25th, where they'll hear a lot of outside information and try to make some visioning process and coming together as a group and setting their goals as a council of what they'd like to see accomplished in the next year or 2 or 4. So more to come, but again, our new council and mayor are working, in my opinion, very well together, all of them trying to figure out their exact role and how the city functions, but working through that in a very good process. And all of them very interested in being active in city business and government and meetings and other things that are going on. So very excited to have a new group to work with. And again, I do want to say thank you to the previous council because they were good to work with, but having new ideas is not bad either, and new questions and challenges to how we have always done things. In that vein, we have put all of our employees through customer service training. We spent the week of January 12th with a gentleman, John Formica, who promotes himself as an ex-Disney guy. He worked in the Disney hotels, really leading those hotels for about 11 years. He was very well received. We had, in 3 days' time, in 3-hour sessions, we had employees sitting and listening to his, how you serve the public or the community or provide good customer service. The feedback from employees, by and large, was very, very good. And again, we had 420 either full-time or part-time employees spend 3 hours with Mr. Formica last week, and I sat in through most sessions or portions of most sessions, and again was very impressed with his energy level and thoughts and ideas and suggestions, and also with our employees and their ability to sit for 3 hours and pay attention and still be engaged to the end of the program. So thank you to our employees. I hope you'll see that as a community, that we are trying to make it a magical place. A lot of things go into effect to put that together, but it does start with really a constant effort on getting us there. A couple project updates and activities coming. Our Center Street project was a Tiger grant. The Tiger grant required some measurable items in there. One of the measurables that has stood out with me is that our downtown Executive Director Julie Metz reported to Council at the end of December the financial private investment impact that we believe this Center Street and Gateway Transfer Station project have had. If you go back 2 years and look at 2 years worth of data, the private investment in downtown was about $700,000 per year, or about $1.4 million over the last 2 years, and that year ending June 30th. So about $700,000 in private investment a year for the previous 2 years. In the first 5 months of this year, this began July 1st, so July through December, the first 5 months, we had over $2.4 million in private investment downtown. Now, whether that trend continues or not, I'm certainly hopeful that it will, but we have tripled in 5 months what was done in either of the last 2 years. And I think a lot of that, if not all, will be attributed to the Center Street investment that the city's made and the change and transformation in downtown. So I hope there's more of that to come. I know we've welcomed the Chiropractic Advantage to downtown. We have a business moving into what was the Little Bank downtown. We have consistently notice of new businesses coming or new investment being made, and really a lot of excitement in and around downtown. And just talking with people in the community, I continue to hear how they're bringing their out-of-town children back in, or relatives back in, or friends back in, and bringing them downtown, and people are just amazed at the transformation in downtown Goldsboro. You come downtown at night, people are walking around. It does feel a safe place. It is a safe place. We have an officer who's spending all of their time in our downtown area, and again, our intent is to keep it safe and clean and looking as nice as it did when we took it over from TA11. And again, as spring gets back and the plants start to grow, I think, again, I would encourage you to visit before then, but certainly plan a visit in the coming months and just keep up with what's going on downtown. A lot of good things in Goldsboro, but downtown is certainly the area that has transformed the most in the past few months. With that, we are hosting the North Carolina Main Street Conference, a pretty big deal. It's all the downtown communities across the state generally go for a 3-day stay in a different community. They are coming to Goldsboro really because we've made this investment. They'll be here March 16th through the 18th, so I think the community will see that impact in terms of people in the hotels, people in our downtown, and folks that are generally excited about downtowns from across the state coming to see what Goldsboro has done. And again, we continually are asked, how did you do it? How'd you do it? How'd you get there? How'd this work? From people across the state and really from other states calling in to ask about our experience with the Tiger Grant and how we put it into play and how we got the community buy-in and all of those things that it takes when you're doing such a large public project. So pretty exciting time for Goldsboro. W.A. Foster Center, we awarded that project to TA Lovins, I guess, last summer. They had talked about being done in March of this year. They are still on track to be done in March. I've toured the facility a number of times. It is going to be a phenomenal facility. I'm really excited for the community and in particular the kids that will have the opportunity to play in that center. It will have an adult space. It will have a kids space. It will have a very nice gymnasium. And then it has a very large meeting space with a small warming kitchen that could be used for whatever type of community event that may go on. But again, more to come on that. We will have a nice dedication ceremony. Again, I'm expecting that to be toward the end of March, but more to come on that. The Goldsboro Event Center right behind it, I expect many people have noticed from the street off Slocum that we have removed the fence, we've removed a lot of trees, we've taken most of the landscaping out of the parking lot, we've put overhead wires underground, we're going to replace the lighting in the parking lot. Interior-wise, we have updated all the bathrooms. We've created some new bathrooms. We took the kitchen and turned it into locker rooms and bathrooms on one side. The other half will be a nice warming kitchen for catered events. We are basically then redoing the paint, wallpaper, and lighting throughout the rooms and new furniture throughout the building. In terms of sitting chairs and tables, we've retained some of the older furniture that was a little more antiquish looking and for placement throughout the facility. But I am very excited about what that's turning into as well. The view in front of the building is very nice. The view behind the building where you can look out onto the golf course, because again, we've removed trees and fencing behind it as well as the pool and tennis building. It has really opened up a very nice vista, and I think it will be a facility that the community is proud of. It'll be managed by our Paramount Theater director. They are good at renting space and hosting quality events, and so for family reunions, for wedding events, for business meetings, we certainly would encourage you to get in touch with Sherry Archibald or her staff at the Paramount Theater. And we are taking sort of a written, penciled list of names right now. As soon as the facility has an opening date, we'll start taking deposits for those events. But if you want to get a date penciled in, it's time to get with us, because I know she had 30 or 40 sort of penciled in, and we have not confirmed anything until we get the facility ready and open. But I'm looking for that to happen late February, early March. As a matter of fact, I hope our council retreat, the city council retreat, can be held at the event center so the council can see it and community members could visit it then. But we'll have an opening event, I'm sure, for it as well, sometime in the February-March timeframe. But I think it will be a facility that the community is very pleased with and excited to have available to them. Sewer repair, ongoing sewer repair throughout the community. The council's talked about it a few times where we have all these utility cuts that become rough. The contractor is working to make those better. But as you see that throughout the community, please slow down in driving. I know that John Street, North John Street was in really bad shape, or just north of Ash because of the sewer work, and then some of Holly and some of the side streets in that area. But it's the old sewer where we're doing small point repairs that are supposed to return a big investment in terms of keeping groundwater and rainwater out of our sewer system and reducing the inflows into our wastewater plants. So really important work. I know it's an inconvenience. All of these areas where we've done a lot of cutting and patching because of the recent sewer work, we are going to resurface as a whole. We've got that under contract with Barnhill. So as soon as their schedule permits and the weather allows, they'll be in resurfacing those streets as well as the original streets that they were contracted to resurface. So a few more months of patience with us, and I believe it will be much better. And again, I know we've made improvements to the sewer system. The roadway will be in better shape as well. We rebid the New Hope multi-use pass extending from the church there at Hare Road out towards Wayne Community College. I don't have the bids on that, but it is back out for bid. We did get additional funding from DOT. We started with a $600,000 grant. We now have a $900,000 grant, so I feel confident that we'll be able to complete this section that includes a pretty large bridging area across the stream that is there as well. And will be an extension where it will connect our existing multi-use path to the area that goes behind the hospital, community college, and also out to Wayne Memorial and the sidewalk. So a lot of excitement for me with that, and in the community that's excited about the greenways and multi-use path extension. The mayor and probably 10 others of us had a small meeting with Senator Burr a few weeks ago. I was very encouraged. We had almost an hour of the senator's time. He listened to folks from the Air Force, folks from the county, and folks from the city and chamber, as well as our state representatives talking about issues of concern for Goldsboro and Wayne County. If nothing else, the senator left, I believe, with a sense that we, the Air Force Base, the city, and the county really are a partnership here, really are a unified force, and really are working very well together, as we should, but as not always happens. And so again, it was very good for us, I think, to have an hour with the senator just talking about our community, and we appreciate his time and those that were in attendance to that meeting. Our city audit will be presented to the council on January 19th. A year ago we had some I guess press or concerns over the city's fund balance. It was $3.3 million in our audit. There was a loan from the utility fund to the general fund, in which the local government commission, which oversees all of our audits, said we couldn't show it that way in our audit, which reduced our general fund savings, or fund balance or savings, to about $600,000. I'm very pleased to report that it is now over $6 million, our fund balance or savings. So we've gone from what was 600 and some thousand in last year's audit to over $6 million in this year's audit. There are a lot of reasons for that, but Kay Scott and her staff have worked very hard along with our auditors to get all of that back to where it needs to be. And again, we knew it would work itself out over a multi-year time frame, but it's nice that the audit does prove that. And again, that'll be the information shared with our council on January 19th. With that, I think I'll close for this month. Again, I would tell you, as always, we're here to serve. Most of us are happy to be here in our jobs. We're working on making all of us happy to be here in the job serving you. But please call on us. If you have a great experience, I'd love to hear it. If you have a not so great experience, I'd really like to hear that so we can work to address that and try to make it a better experience next time. I'm available through our website, which is www.goldsboronc.gov. There's a citizen request tab there that will send an email into my office, or you can call my office, 919-580-4330. Again, 919-580-4330. And as always, we're here to serve, so call if we can be of assistance. Thank you.